everybody out there in YouTube land and in the world at large, to all you YouTubers that love to make content as well, to all you that just love watching YouTube, to all those that love art and just some entertainment, thank you for watching FATV Fan Art. We got a real special piece here. I have never painted anything quite like this before. Actually, I don't do a whole lot of human portraiture, but in this case, it's going to be young Ben Kenobi, Obi Wan, and Baby Yoda, okay, together in this very, I don't know if it's original, but because not really. The ideas are obviously individually made up by somebody else, a Star Wars franchise, of course. But in this piece, I'm blending these two from different movies. You know, the remakes of the Star Wars that came out in the late 90s, early 2000s, and then, of course, Baby Yoda Mandalorian. So I want to thank you for watching this. Please like and subscribe. I hope you really enjoy this. I'm going to show you in this video just a little bit of some techniques that I did to set up this portraiture and how I use acrylic underpainting with oils and so on. So maybe that you could learn how to do something like this. And that's a good reason why you should subscribe, because if you watch my videos, you're going to see more like this where I can maybe help you, give you painting ideas, but also maybe to give you some tips on how to paint. So I hope you really enjoy this. Now, before I start, a few things I want to show you, okay? This right here is my very dirty palette. I still have not cleaned it since my last painting. And I'm just putting color on here just to put paint on it. And over here, I have a very clean palette. Kind of like one of those ones clear.
Thank you, my friend.
And
God bless.
Quite as big. Acrylic palette. Now, I had to use a little liquid clear to apply on the canvas. I added some white to that just to do the clouds and the sky part. But let me run through some colors for you. Got some burnt umber, Naples yellow, Indian yellow, titanium white. For the flesh tones, I decided just to use pale pink because I can mix that with some other colors. Other than that, I got a light Naples yellow, which is somewhere in here, and some cadmium yellow. And what else we got here? Some Venetian red, lamp black, and for real dark stuff, I really love carbon black. Okay, so those are my colors. That's my palette. One that's just to put paint on it, so I have somewhere to put the paint. And then you use the clean one to mix and use the palette knife or whatever you need. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about the background. I used a flat head brush like this. I used a little chisel head brush just like this. I used a fan brush, okay, one of the medium-sized ones. 1-inch brush, one of my favorite brands, Bob Ross brand. It is Bob Ross style. 2-inch brush. All right. So that was just basically to apply the sky and the little background scenery. Thought you should see that. And then for the painting, I went out and got a whole bunch of new brushes. And these ones here, they're not the most expensive brushes. You know, they're Artist Loft, you know, Michaels or wherever you want to go, that have various heads on the flat heads, pointed brushes, fine detail, rounds and pointed with, and then flat heads here that are of various sizes, sometimes called frill brushes, but those are more, I think, rounded on the edge. But just these fine brushes ranging from 4s to all the way down to 1s. I think the largest one here is a 6. So those are my brushes, okay? All right, before I fix my camera, I just want to give you a little bit of a shot of this painting. You'll see that some of it is already done. The background is oils. That's been done. And Obi-Wan and Yoda have been drawn with graphite. And there's some acrylic underpainting just because I wanted to block them in. Here in this video, I'm just going to start with some of the basics on the painting, working on the face. And I'll have the picture up here. I'm going to put it up there here in just a second so you can see what I'm working off of. Funny enough, this was a meme that I created. And I'm like, now I should paint it. Because I do not believe that this picture ever... at least I haven't seen it. So, at any rate... yeah, so I'll put the picture up. You can see what I'm working off of. I'm going to start in here with just the black, okay? Just using this little flathead brush right here. I'm not sure how well you can see it. And it just kind of has that nice chiseled flat edge. After I applied the acrylic and did the drawing, and I did the drawing first, then I did the acrylics around Obi Wan. I sprayed it with a coating of just a flat, mostly flat. I think it's not even semi-gloss, but it's just a spray paint that's safe to use over acrylic, so that the acrylics do not smear. Okay, that's a pretty important thing. You don't want your acrylics to smear. Especially when you're doing the lighter parts of the face. It wouldn't matter so much here in the black because, well, first of all, I put black acrylic on there, but I'm using this carbon black and then mixing in a little bit with the lamp black because it's a slightly looser oil. And yes, this is oil. The acrylics are already on here. Now, what I'm doing is I'm going up over this outline of our character here. And sometimes I sit, sometimes I stand as I'm doing this, because it can be actually, I was talking to another artist about this, it can be quite tiring to stand here for a long period of time and to work on something. But in this video, it's not going to be overly long. I don't want to do too much in this one video. I can always separate it all out into more than one episode or video for y'all. But just to give you the basic point here of shadow and darkness, you have all this light behind him, right? And he's in the foreground. I wasn't too concerned about a very detailed foreground. It was not necessary. I'm sorry, I was not too concerned with a very detailed background, because I was more concerned with a very detailed foreground. Because who's the subject of the painting? When you do a painting, you have to ask yourself a question. Who is the subject, or what is the subject? Or is the subject something that's manifold in many ways, and so therefore you're focusing on a number of different things? But then you have your point of view, your perspective, and all that to consider as to where you want people to focus their eyes. The focus here is going to be, of course, on Obi-Wan, or Ben Kenobi, whatever you want to call him, and the child, or Baby Yoda. He's been commonly called the Baby Yoda. And... whoops, I just think I shook the camera. Sorry about that. He's also referred to in some circles, I don't know, as the child. I'm learning more about this. I'm still watching the series. I love the series, but I'm getting through it much like you guys. So I'm just going to take a second right there to look back and see what I've done and see what I need to do. Because obviously, one of the most important things about painting is also analyzing your work and taking a step back and looking at it. So as you've seen right here, in comparison to the picture, what I've done, okay, you can see where I'm building in the shadow. He's got this hoodie over him, this Jedi outfit. And I know there's a name for it, but I'm just building the shadow here more and more and seeing what colors might barely peek through that black as we work our way around, okay? So here you see right now, just 4 minutes of me blabbing and talking where we're at. Now, I wanted to point something out that Ewan McGregor, who plays Obi Wan, he has a very kind of reddish brown hair. So his beard's going to be probably a little bit more on the reddish side than his hair, which is also like a reddish brown. And so, as such, using some Venetian red and some oranges mixed in, I'm just going to start playing. This is what all I'm doing right here. I'm just playing around with some colors, because as we get closer into his cheek, I think you're going to start to see a little bit more of that. But I don't want to really start putting his hair on until I get the underlying color there. And some of that underlying color, I believe, in my view of it, I'm using a raw sienna brown, okay? Just lightly tapping in right there and looking at it, because I'm like, well, we have a few tones going on here. We have a few tones going on here as well as we get towards shadow. All right. So what I think the best thing to do is to say, well, what is some of this underlying color on his face? Okay, and it's going to require, I think, making a bit of a skin tone. Then I'm taking some cad yellow and some burnt umber, Naples yellow, and I'm just kind of mixing on here a bit with some of this pink, just building like a flesh tone that in this case, because of the lighting, I think this flesh tone is a very orangish around the edges. Okay, when I say orangish, I'm clearly not there yet right here. I'm working it until I think I get in here something close, okay? Working a little bit more of the Venetian red, the orange, and so on. So what I want to do as I'm going up through these shadow lines, I'm just laying in some color. It's not a big deal at this point. It's not going to remain that way. It's not a fixed color by any means. But it's darker in here, as you can see from the photo up there earlier, and I'll put it up again, that he's got some color here that's going to blend, but when I get to the face, when I get more into the face and the cheekbone and come down, we're going to get into some of these other color tones that we have going on, okay? And it's kind of like a color match thing that you can, there's actually some apps out there you can throw up a picture too, and you can get an idea of what colors you're dealing with, because I think as we get over here, I'm just going to tap some color over there, as I do believe in the face, before we add in actual hair effects, that we are dealing with some colors in there, with some reddish tone, some orangish tone, and that's all I'm doing. I'm not committing to anything in particular. I'm adjusting color as I go, okay? But I have to keep in mind where I see my bright spots, what's there, okay? And then the black, of course, as you get back into the black, all right, we're going to be blending back in here some more, okay? Because again, there's shadow, there's form there that is very, very hard to see, okay? And I'm just coloring it in around the edges, bringing in the black, because there's going to be a lot of adjustment as we go around his face, okay? A lot of adjustment. Likewise over here, going to be a lot of adjustment, and we're just color testing. I can pull my app and look later and see about what those colors are, because I have an idea of what they are by looking at it, but that's part of the experience in painting is, again, color matching. Okay, before I end off part one of this, I guess it'll be like a little mini series, I wanted to point out, and I think it was good to explain at this last juncture as I'm adding in some of these color tones that I'm seeing here, which have so much more of like a red-brown tone to it, almost a burnt sienna tone to it around his face, which you can kind of see on both sides here as I'm tapping in just a little bit of that color as we get towards the black. Is that the beauty of oil paints is it's slow drying time for a reason, especially with portraiture. It makes sense that the masters have used this stuff for ages and ages, and all I had to do earlier, because I didn't like some of the color that came up here, is I just take a rag. It's dry, there's nothing on it. I don't want to remove my protective coating, and I just wipe some of it off. That's it. That's all you got to do. Go back, adjust, go back, adjust. Some people probably very skillful in the art of color matching, and they don't have to necessarily do that. But I got another dry brush, and I'm cleaning my other one off. And all I'm doing, again, is just taking a little bit of this raw sienna color. I believe that's the color I'm using. I'm almost certain. I also have Venetian red, but using both. It's Tierra de Sienna Brûlée, burnt sienna rather, burnt sienna, very reddish brown, and I'm just tapping in here, guys. Just tapping in, and we're gonna come back through with the black, okay, where it's most dark right here and shadowed in, and shadowing where it needs to be around this part of his inner part of his robe, because it's quite dark in there. You don't want to see a whole lot in there yet, okay, or at all. It'll ruin the fade around the edges too if you put too much color on the darker side. The shadowing is on his right. Light's coming in this way, believe it or not, for him. But that's how I have it. And that's what it looks like to me in the photo. And that's what I'm going to go with for today. And I think this is going to be it for today. I hope you enjoy just seeing this part, because you have to watch the next video if you'd like to see more, and I'll just do a quick recap of where I was at. All right, everybody, that's it for today. Please like, subscribe, share, tell everybody, because this is going to be probably one of maybe 3 or 4 videos. I'd like to finish it all for you and just do it in parts and give some instruction. What we ended off with is just basically working around the face and getting it set up. I'd like to get into some more detail in the next video. So this is just part 1. Check out now part 2 to see where I go next with this and see how much progress I make. I hope you're enjoying watching this. I think Obi Wan Baby Yoda is going to be just super epic. It's going to be, for some people, maybe a little bit amusing. And to Sarah and William, who are actually wanting this painting, this is a commission work for them, so I hope they really enjoy it. But I'm going to miss it. I think I'm really going to miss sending it to them. So please like, please subscribe, tell all your friends about me. If you subscribe to me, you can learn how to do some of the things that I'm doing here. If you're a painter, whether you love oil paints or acrylics, I work now in both mediums. And you can gain something that way. Or if you just want some painting ideas, if you just want to watch some dude like me that just paints and has fun and is just enjoying life, because this is one of the things I do that really gets me going in life. I truly enjoy it. So be the artist you're born to be the creative type you're born to be. Thank you again for watching, and hit that little bell so you get the notice for the next video. Okay, I'll see you next time, everybody. Bye now.